Welcome back to the European tour. The view you see behind me is one you will not be seeing for much longer. I will explain all the other side of the credits. Okay, now, you will remember a couple of episodes ago that I made slight miscalculation with the youth contracts, and I asked my director of football to sign 14 or 15 youngsters to £4,000 a year deals, all of which put us 40 grand over our wage budget. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I can only rearrange their contracts once they turn 17. I can't do anything about that contract until then. And we have a few of them turning 17 in like September, October, but I need at least 9 of them to turn 17 before my wages paid come below my wage budget. And at the moment, when I try and sign anyone new, I can only offer them £1 a game. And funnily enough, no one wants to play for us for £1 a game. So, having accidentally shafted this side completely, I mean, don't get me wrong, the core of last season's squad that got us to the playoffs is still going to be here. But I can't bolster that squad, which I think it needed just a little bit, just to get us over the hump. And obviously that means the only way of filling any gaps now in the squad, and there are some gaps, is by using those youngsters who are on £4,000 a year each. And they just aren't very good. So I think this season would be a big backward step, and it would take so long to get the wages to a point where they were manageable and we could sign players who were going to be useful for us again, that this season would be gone. We'd be too out of touch, I think, barring a really good run with no injuries. And basically, I wasn't feeling it enough here. My heart isn't enough with this squad to really be in it for the long haul and spend at least another 2 seasons here. If we could have done this season and maybe got them promoted, then it would have been the option of either, well, we can have a crack at the next division, or now I've got a team promoted, I'm a little bit more desirable as a manager, and we could have looked to broaden our horizons. As it is, we're going to have to broaden those horizons a little bit early. So, I have resigned, and I have been hunting around for a job. Did get several offers. I got offered a job in Armenia, which, I know, on the surface doesn't sound like, hey, brilliant, Armenia at last. But it does have the advantage, of course, of I've never managed in Armenia, so it will be a new experience. And the club's finances are pretty good. We've got a wage budget of over £500,000, nearly £600,000. And I had a look at the wage budgets of the other clubs in that division. Now, a lot of them are B teams of the teams in the division above. And it is the Armenian second division as well, so it's not that far off the top level. So there's a lot of B teams in there by the nature of Armenian football. There aren't that many clubs, apparently. And the ones that aren't B teams, we've pretty much got the biggest wage budget out there. So we could build a side that could challenge for promotion, because obviously those B teams, they can't go up. So all you've got to do, really, is be the best of the non-B teams. And I looked even at the wage budgets of the top flight clubs, and the best one there was still only about twice our wages. So I think there is a great deal of potential in Armenia. So let's go and introduce you to our new club. Right, this, as you can see, is my welcome to the club. They're called Gloriei'S. They are from the city of Vanadzor in the region of Lori in Armenia. They play at what's named here as Vanadzor City Stadium, but I'll show it to you on Google Maps in a bit. It seems to be on there just Lori Stadium. And let's just say the word stadium is generous. Okay, the division seems to be called the Aradzin Chumb, which is a beautiful name for a city, and this presumably is the Cup Ankaxaltian Gavat. Yep, nailed it. 4,000 capacity. Looking at it on the pictures I've seen, yeah. Safely? No. As you can see, wage budget, nearly 600,000. The transfer budget isn't that big, but A, don't expect to be paying much for players at this level. B, we've got a lot of wage budget spare, I think, so we can probably transfer quite a bit of that over. Now, we are predicted 11th. All I've got to do is avoid relegation, so I think if we can improve this side before the season starts, then we could be in for a fun season. Right, interesting that we don't have a director of football and we don't have an assistant manager, and I've got a funny feeling I promised I wouldn't be doing anything with the staff, so we might well be without them. Oh Lord, don't tell me I'm going to have to do all my own media stuff and my own opposition instructions. Oh God, I'm going to have to do the work. No, I can't just get other people to do it and take the credit. Maybe this job isn't all it's cracked up to be. Shall we have a look and see how good our goalkeeper is? Answer, he's not. Now, one thing I did notice when I looked at their squad is that they seem to have signed an awful lot of players who are expecting to be star players. So I think I'm going to have to disappoint a lot of people, because I'm looking to improve this side and a lot of you are not going to get the game time you think you're getting. Now, who have we got up front here? I don't know who picked this side, but you've put a defensive midfielder in one of the forward positions. Why? I think we're probably best moving on from this, because it really doesn't look like anyone's got any clue who should play where at this club. Maybe that's because they haven't got an assistant manager and it's just gone sort of like, oh, just bang any random player in, doesn't matter. Right, this is, like I say, what we're expected to do. We're just basically expected to keep the club up for 5 years. That's the 5-year plan. Stay up. So I think we can overachieve here, which will be nice, because then my reputation will grow and we can get even better jobs. Although I do kind of, I'm already harbouring European ambitions with this team. If we can sort of play the transfer market well enough. Not sure what the foreign sort of player limits are, because obviously in Israel we couldn't sign anyone who wasn't Israeli. But here we might well be able to do that, because there's nothing there about, you know, not signing foreign players. Okay, oh God, yeah, that's part of the problem. Without an assistant manager, I don't get the star ratings, do I? That presumably means... Does that mean we've got no staff at all? Yeah, I've got literally no staff. Please tell me I didn't promise them I wouldn't need to change the staff. Please. Oh, I don't have any promises. Brilliant. Right. Job 1, hire some staff. That is the most important thing we've got to do. Obviously, we'll look at the squad and we'll see what sort of... I mean, we seem to have a lot of defensive players and almost nothing going forward. So I think if we're going to spend any of that money, it's going to be spent up top rather than at the back. Right, I'll have an in-depth look at the squad off camera, because I don't want to bore you with all that. Let's have a look at the competitions. I don't know what word I was starting there. As you can see, loads of B teams, all these ones with -2 on the end. B teams are top flight sides. Looking at the season preview, we are only the 4th best of the non-B teams, so we're clearly not really expected to go up. We've just been promoted into this division by the looks of it. Now, the rules. Okay, 5 substitutes from 9. That's good. I like a nice... 9 is pretty much the ideal sort of subs bench. You can get pretty much one of every position on there. 5 subs, useful. Match squad must have no more than 3 non-EU players. Now, forgive me for saying so, but Armenia aren't in the EU, so that means I'm basically forced to buy foreign players, doesn't it? Because if I just go back to this squad again, everybody is marked as foreign, despite the fact they're all actually Armenian. I think someone has set the rules up for this competition very, very badly. I know it's not an easy task putting these sort of competitions together, because I've tried it slightly myself in the past. But surely that's a very, very big oversight if you're counting everybody as foreign in your own country. Which means I can basically play 3 of those players that we currently have. So this could be an absolute nightmare come the first game if I can't get... If it's literally going to stop me doing that... I want to go back to Israel. Right. Okay, I might have a major problem on my hands, but we will try and solve it. For a start, I've got to lessen a lot of people's expectations, and secondly, I might have to buy almost an entirely new squad just so we can actually play anyone. Although, that said, if I have a look at other people's squads, Ganzazar, for example, all of their players are foreign as well, so we could end up playing 3 aside. Let's go and have a wander around and look at the local area, and yeah, I'm going to have possibly big problems to deal with already. This was supposed to be a nice fresh start. What's happened? It's gone wrong already. Right, I'll see you at the stadium. So let's see where we are really sort of in the world. So yeah, we're sort of... We've not gone all that far actually. We were obviously down here in Israel, so we've just sort of moved... What's that? Northeast-ish? Zooming back in to our mountainside retreat. Yeah, this looks like your typical state-of-the-art Armenian stadium, doesn't it? It's not great. Can we have a bit of a wander around on the streets nearby? Can we get... Oh, there we go. We can pop us... No, we can't pop ourselves down there. Doesn't look like we can wander the streets of Armenia. But there are pictures of this stadium. So, okay. Well, as you can see, it really is not the most salubrious of surroundings. I mean, nice views, lovely view of the mountains there, and your standard communist era block of flats, presumably. But yeah, this place is kind of falling apart, isn't it? I mean, again, some spectacular backgrounds. I mean, would you want to turn up and watch football from that? No, of course you wouldn't. I really hope that EU rule does not come back to bite us. If it does, it's going to bite everyone else, because, you know, we had a look at that other squad and they're all Armenian as well. So it could be interesting when the season kicks off, because no one might be able to play games. However, I'll see what I can do. I'll be looking at foreign players mostly if I possibly can, obviously, to try and circumvent that rule, especially EU ones. Thank you for joining me at this tour of our brand new club, which may have been one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in Football Manager, because this league's rules are wrong. So, please like, comment and subscribe, even just out of pity for the situation I've now found myself in. Why didn't I stay in Israel? And yeah, if you've got any suggestions as to how to easily overcome this problem, by all means make them. But until next time, I will say farewell. Bye-bye for now. Just when you thought this episode was over, I'm back. Now, I had about 3 or 4 weeks before the season started to try and pull off the improbable of getting a load of EU-based players into my squad to meet with the rules. And I did the sneaky little thing that you can do on this game. I'll just show you what I mean. If I go into scouting, you can see here scouting budget, which actually seems to be down to naught for some reason. I don't know why, but I temporarily put some money from the transfer funds into the scouting budget so that we could get coverage of every player in Europe very briefly. I then went through, picked out all the free agents who were as many European Union nations as I could be bothered with. Didn't bother with some of them like Italy and Spain, there were just far too many. But I put them all on a list. I then picked out an age range because I didn't want youngsters because we can't develop them. I didn't want older players because they're physically were going to be on the wane. So 23 to 30. Those ones, discard all the rest. Sorry if I keep banging the microphone. Let me just move it back a little bit. And then basically cancel that scouting range, put it back to what it was, and we find it looks like it has actually charged me for that one time. So we don't have any scouting budget, but that's not going to matter very much. Now, I did all this. I then started trialling countless players from EU nations to find if there were any good ones. We found some good ones. You can see here from our transfer history. This little lot here, all of them are from EU countries. We signed all of them. We could afford the wages for all of them. And of course, I was in the process of doing this. Now, I will point out that in the dynamics, the players did not like me or support me when I first got here. Might be slightly my own fault for when I turned up, having a team meeting with them and saying, I think we can avoid relegation. No. They weren't having that. They were rubbish. Everyone knew it. They were going down. Don't come in here telling us we're any good. My mistake. So they hate me. They hate me even more because obviously I was trying to get all these EU players in and trying to get rid of them to free up the wages to pay for some of these players. Because whilst we had a lot spare, wasn't enough to fill out the squad, so I needed them out of the way to get other players in. I could keep a few of them, the best ones, because obviously we could have 3 non-EU players, which Armenians are, even though it's Armenia. Let's not go there. Anyway, I made these signings. And it was probably the day after I'd signed Gleb Pevtsov, Estonian, by the way. And I hadn't actually signed Saigal and Nistor yet. So I looked at the squad, and I'll show you the squad now. So you can see the likes of Saigal and Nistor in the lineup there. And where is he? Where's the man that started it all? Pevtsov, there. Okay, Estonian. Now, Estonia, verifiable fact, in the EU, rightly or wrongly. Don't know how much they contribute. We're not in it anymore. Don't care. But he is still down. Foreign, non-EU player. Now, Luxembourg, also in the EU. Slovakia, also in the EU. England, fair enough. Cyprus, also in the EU. Now, can't get much more in the EU than bloody Belgium. The whole place is run from Brussels. 2 Belgians, apparently non-EU. So, everyone I signed did not count as being not foreign. All the Armenians, of course, were already counting as being foreign. So when I asked my assistant manager to pick the team for our first game, he's managed to find a space for the 3 non-EU foreign players that we're allowed. And all these grey ones here, whilst they're down as Armenian, because they haven't got any sort of contract of any kind, it doesn't seem to be counting them as foreign. But that also means they're bloody awful. Look at them. I am not going to play an entire league season having to play 3 half-decent players. And by the way, everyone else here who is on a contract, vast majority of them wanted at least regular starter, if not star player. So they're all going to get really, really annoyed very quickly because they're not playing. And they already hate me. And there is nothing I can do about it. The rules have been set up in this league, for some reason, very, very badly. And I am going to be leaving a comment for the person who created this league file that I downloaded to let them know that this just isn't working. I'll be nice about it, because I know it's not easy, but I think this should be one of those things that they should have play tested it and spotted this, because nobody can play for an Armenian side who is Armenian. It's ridiculous. And of course, for some reason, it's treating EU players as non-EU, which is again ridiculous. So we are right before the first league game of the season. There is no point continuing with this team. And what I might do is just take the Armenian League out of the equation, because it's not going to run properly, because nobody can play in it properly. It's just weird. So if I take it out, it'll probably run in the background, and probably better than it will if it's actually there. So basically what I'm saying is that this episode has been effectively a royal waste of my time, and boy do I wish I'd gone to Iceland. So yeah, I'm going to start looking around for another job, because this one is untenable, which is a real shame, because I found some reasonable talent, and I think we'd have been a good side if I could have played any of these European boys, but we can't. So this time I'm actually going to let you go, and next time, hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll see me at my 3rd job of this European tour, and with any luck, one where we can actually play players from the country we're playing in. Bye bye for now.